Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, Jim Broadbent, Helena Bonham Carter, Robbie Coltrane, Warwick Davis, Michael Gambon, Alan Rickman, and Maggie Smith, and directed by David Yates. Now, before I get into this movie, I remember not being as excited as I was maybe for the first four, like I said last week with The Order of the Phoenix, which I didn't like. But it's not whether or not I'm going to say if I like this movie this time or not. I don't remember it being rememberable for me, but let's just get into it. You'll see what I mean when I feel like it's forgettable. Harry Potter, returned by Daniel Radcliffe, is in a cafe where Harry keeps his mind off things. Meanwhile, a waitress goes up to him and says, "Who's Harry Potter?" Which I'm believing it's a Muggle thing. But Harry himself says he's no one, and they have a flirt with each other when Dumbledore, returned by Michael Gambon, says how reckless he's been all summer, and next thing you know, we get introduced to Professor Horace Slughorn, played by Jim Broadbent, who will be the potions teacher in this movie. But my problem with Broadbent is he seems to be too shaky and worried throughout this movie. But that opening I don't really care for how it's executed. Harry arrives at the Weasleys' house, and when they see Mrs. Weasley, Ron and Hermione and Ginny, and I do like how they get back together for the 6th year of Hogwarts, Mother Malfoy and Bellatrix, returned by Helena Bonham Carter, go to Professor Severus Snape, returned by Alan Rickman, to help watch over Draco Malfoy, returned by Tom Felton, who's probably the weakest thing about this movie because he whines more than Harry did in the last movie. He ignored the daylights out of me. Harry hides in the Slytherin cart of the train while Malfoy spots him, and Harry hides in the invisibility cloak. And Malfoy kicks and breaks Harry's neck. Well, yeah, basically. And Luna Lovegood finds Harry dead until she heals him and goes with him to the castle. And Snape becomes the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, like he always wanted. And I like those scenes, just the way these actors play it. I like how Harry and Ron have a free period and they smile and laugh while Professor McGonagall, returned by Maggie Smith, sees how happy they are and sends them to Professor Slughorn's class. That makes me laugh every time. It just makes me laugh. Harry sees a past from Dumbledore of how he met Tom Riddle, and I like how that scene was acted by Michael Gambon and the kid who plays the young Tom Riddle. The way these two play off is scary and brilliant for a PG-rated movie. Yes, this is a PG-rated movie, ladies and gentlemen. Ron joins the Quidditch team, and I like that scene because Ron acted natural and fast at the same time, and this may be the best acted Ron performance Rupert Grint has done as this character, in my opinion. The Quidditch game itself, I really like how we go back to it and haven't gotten one since part 3. And they win the game and cheer for Ron, and Hermione sees Ron kissing another girl and asks Harry what it's like. He has a crush on Ginny, and she has a crush on Ron, and Hermione I'm talking about, and she's jealous of Ron. And I really like how Emma Watson plays jealousy of Ron, and she pulls it off really well. Bellatrix comes off by the Weasleys while Harry is on the Christmas break, and I'm liking Helena Bonham Carter better than I did last time. Same goes to Luna Lovegood. I feel like it's an improvement from the Order of the Phoenix, which I barely liked them in. Ron is in love with Romilda, but that love story is pretty weak because Ron has always had a crush on Hermione, but Romilda is a weak character in general. And I personally can't stand her and she won't show up for the rest of the movie after the school hospital scene. She's just annoying. I'm just going to say it now. I'm not having as bad of a time as I was with The Order of the Phoenix. I'm bored in this movie as this movie progresses. I forget the term of events happening in this movie, and at best, it's average. I'll just say that much. It's not spectacular like the first four, but it's average. Harry and Malfoy have a wand fight in the little boy's restroom, and because of how brief it is and hard to see what's going on in that scene, I found it to be a problem because they should have held the camera still while that was going on. Harry acts happy when he takes a potion where it makes him happy and silly. And that scene is corny with a little needed comedy. And Harry visits Hagrid and they find a dead spider named Aragog, something like that. Aragog, excuse me, I meant Aragog. And that was a little unnecessary, and this is kind of a long movie, but not as long as The Chamber of Secrets. They could have cut at least 10 minutes of it out. That scene with Harry and Dumbledore on a rock leading into a cave in the middle of the ocean is such a beautifully shot scene. Malfoy comes up to find Dumbledore because he's the chosen one to kill Dumbledore, but Snape is the one who does kill Dumbledore because he's the Half-Blood Prince, and goes off to the Dark Lord Voldemort. With Malfoy and Bellatrix and the students at Hogwarts have a funeral remembering Dumbledore for the great man he was, which was a good moment to let us know in the next two movies. And yes, it's one of those irritating part 1, part 2 movies. That's why I said 2. Harry goes to war with Voldemort. Dark ending, but I'm okay with it, to be fair. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.3 out of 10. This may be the weakest Harry Potter film I enjoyed, which is not Order of the Phoenix, by the way. The characters were fair and improved. There's some shots here, but it wasn't as bad of a time, more average time I had in this movie, and this is at best an average movie. It's forgettable, sure, but I mean, it's average. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next week I will be back with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. And until next time, sunshine daisies, turn the stupid camera off.